near the Mexican border to the misty, forested mountains near Oregon. It was a journey that would test his endurance, patience, and ultimately, his sanity. Matt was no stranger to the outdoors. He had spent his childhood hiking through the wilds of Oregon, camping in both marked and unmarked territories, navigating through dense woods where predators lurked unseen. But nothing, not even his years of experience, could have prepared him for what awaited him deep in the Lassen National Forest. A silent encounter. The first weeks of his hike were uneventful, even serene. He moved at his own pace, camping wherever he found a clearing, surviving on carefully rationed food. The occasional rattlesnake or unexpected dehydration spell was nothing new. But as he entered the remote, suffocating depths of Lassen National Forest, the air itself seemed to change. The trees pressed in closer, their gnarled limbs intertwining overhead, casting deep, shifting shadows even in broad daylight. The silence became oppressive. One afternoon, as he rounded a bend in the trail, he saw them. A man and a woman sat on a boulder just off the path. They were dressed entirely in white. Loose, flowing clothes that seemed out of place in the rugged wilderness. Their faces were gaunt, their skin pale and smeared with dirt. The man had a thick, wild beard. The woman's hair was long and tangled. But what sent a chill creeping up Matt's spine was their eyes. They weren't merely watching him. They were staring at him, unblinking, their expressions unreadable. The longer he looked, the more unnatural they seemed. Their clothes were ragged, yet they sat in eerie stillness, their posture unnaturally stiff. Something about them felt wrong, as though they had been waiting for him. Matt hesitated, forcing himself to glance away. He muttered a quick, "Hello," as he passed them, but they didn't respond. Not a wave, not a nod, not even a flicker of recognition that he had spoken. Just those vacant, dead-eyed stares following him as he walked by. Unease prickled the back of his neck, but he shook it off. Maybe they were drifters. Maybe they didn't speak English. He had no reason to worry, or so he thought. The first violation. That night, Matt set up camp well off the trail, pushing deep into the trees for privacy. He followed his usual precautions, hanging his food high in a tree to deter bears. The air was thick and still, the kind of night where sound seemed to carry forever. But exhaustion overtook his unease, and soon he drifted into sleep. Sometime in the early hours, he stirred. Something had woken him, a noise just beyond his tent. He lay still, his heartbeat suddenly thundering in his ears. Then he heard it again. A faint crunch of leaves, a footstep. Holding his breath, he strained to listen. There were no windows in his tent, only the suffocating darkness and the terrifying certainty that someone, or something, was moving outside. Another step, then another. Slow, deliberate, approaching. Frozen in place, he clutched the handle of his knife. But just as quickly as the sounds had begun, they stopped. Silence swallowed the forest once more. Dawn came like a lifeline. Matt unzipped his tent, half expecting to find nothing but his own paranoia waiting for him outside. Instead, his blood ran cold. His food bag was gone. At first, he thought it was a bear. But when he scanned the dirt beneath the tree, there were no claw marks, no paw prints. Instead, he saw the unmistakable imprint of boots. 2 sets. They led from the tree to his tent, circling it, lingering. The people in white had followed him, and they had stood mere feet away as he slept. The whispering nightmares. The next few days, Matt hiked harder than ever, pushing himself beyond exhaustion. He was certain they were gone. They had stolen what they wanted, his food. There was no reason for them to follow him anymore. But on the 4th night, that fragile hope shattered. He had camped again off-trail, setting up a perimeter of sticks around his tent as an early warning system. This time, he fell asleep with his knife in hand. Then, deep in the night, the first crack of breaking wood jolted him awake. His pulse hammered. "It's just an animal," he told himself. "It has to be." But then he heard it, the whispering. It came from all around him. A frantic, hushed murmuring carried by the wind. Low voices, unintelligible, yet undeniably human. Then, footsteps. Slow, circling, just like before. Only this time, they didn't stop. Matt barely breathed. He clutched his knife, waiting for whatever was out there to make its move. Then, suddenly, his tent lit up. A flashlight. Someone was watching him. The light clicked off. Silence. And then, a rush of footsteps. Matt exploded from his tent, knife raised, screaming in raw terror. He heard movement behind him, rapid footsteps crashing through the undergrowth. They were chasing him. He ran blindly, smashing through branches, slipping on moss-covered rocks. He could feel them behind him, their presence and almost physical force pushing him forward. Then he saw it. A fallen tree. In sheer desperation, he dove beneath it, wedging himself into the narrow space underneath. For what felt like eternity, he lay there, the damp earth pressing against his face, listening. Then, in the distance, the beam of a flashlight cut through the dark, sweeping back and forth. They were searching for him. For hours, he didn't move. He barely breathed. Only when the first weak light of dawn trickled through the canopy did he dare to crawl out. He didn't even go back for his gear. He ran, heart pounding, all the way to civilization. When he reached the nearest town, he reported everything to the police. But there were no answers, no suspects. Just whispers of other hikers who had vanished, their stories fading into the eerie, unsolved legends of the Pacific Crest Trail. Matt never finished his hike. And to this day, he still wonders, who were the people in white? And what would have happened if he hadn't woken up in time? He never went back to find out.